Hi, it's Troy with PM Collab, and today we're going to be doing a tutorial in Buildium about how to set up and manage your chart of accounts. So we've done a class on the chart of accounts, theoretically how to set that up and kind of what a chart of accounts does and how it works. This class is going to be about how to specifically use Buildium to set up your chart of accounts, make sure that that's functioning really well for you. So where do you find your chart of accounts? It's going to be on the left-hand ribbon under accounting, chart of accounts. And here you're going to see all of the accounts that are assigned to your company. And these are going to be laid out by operating expenses, income, non-operating expenses, and non-operating income. You've also got some assets and liabilities. So all of that, if you haven't done our Intro to Chart of Accounts course, you can learn about all of that stuff there and then come over and learn how to implement it in Buildium in their chart of accounts. So Buildium's got a really great chart of accounts. It's very easy to use and it's got a lot of bandwidth to it. So it can be more sophisticated if you want to have a more sophisticated chart of accounts and you have more sophisticated accounting. And it can be very simple if you want to keep it very simple. So one of the first things to talk about is whether or not you want to use account numbers. So there's a switch here at the top for show account numbers. And if you turn that on, then the account numbers for each account are going to show up. If you do decide to use account numbers, and I actually recommend that you do, you will categorize different categories of your chart of accounts by number. So maybe repairs and maintenance is all of the 50,000s, and everything under that is a number under 50,000. So maybe painting repairs is 50,100 and cleaning is 50,200, et cetera, et cetera. The nice thing about Buildium, though, is you don't have to use the account numbers and you can use sub accounts. And that makes things really easy. So if you look at our chart of accounts, we've got a number of different accounts. If we look at repairs and maintenance, for example, we have a master account, which is an operating expense account called repairs and maintenance. And then under that, we've got sub accounts for the different types of repairs and maintenance. And this works really well in single family management, especially because repairs and maintenance is generally not a really large chunk of the expenses for the properties. And so if you're trying to use a different GL for all repairs and maintenance, um, you end up with a bunch of repairs and maintenance lines that just have zero in them. So the nice thing about this is this all rolls up to one repair and maintenance line. So when you're talking to an owner or an owner's looking at a statement, they can just look at repairs and maintenance and say, oh, my repairs and maintenance for the year was $700. And if they want to dig in and look at the sub accounts and figure out what it was for that year, they can. The same thing with budgeting. You can budget down to the penny for each of your sub accounts. Again, that becomes really challenging in the single family market, especially where the nature of repairs changes pretty often. So you're budgeting, you might not necessarily have flooring repair every year. One year it might be a garbage disposal. One year it might be a window that's broken. It changes a lot. Whereas in multifamily or commercial real estate, you generally have a lot of each of the types of repairs happening every year. And so you want to budget for those individually. But in single family, it's pretty difficult to do. So it's nice that all of this can roll up into repairs and maintenance. So let's look at how you add an account. So you'll click on the Add Account button. Let's say that we want to track the costs of appliance repairs. So, microwave, dishwasher, refrigerator, washer and dryer, all of the appliances that you find in a single family home. And we want to know how much money are we spending on appliance repair. We can create an account called appliance repair. and that is going to be an operating expense account. So, operating expenses are expenses that are part of the operation of the property, just like the name implies, operating expenses. So, this is a parent account, an operating expense account. And you really don't have to worry about any of the other fields here. You can put in the number if you're going to number your chart of accounts. I'm going to leave that blank for now. We'll skip advanced options. There will be an advanced chart of accounts course where we'll talk about that. And then you can put in some notes here like tracking appliance repairs. Okay. And then you'll click save account. So now we've got our account called appliance repair and maintenance, and we can create sub accounts for that. I've created two sub accounts for appliance repair and maintenance. The first one is for appliance one time repairs. So within this account, we've created an account called appliance one time repairs. It's a sub account, and its parent account is appliance repairs and maintenance. And this is for tracking repairs to appliances that happen one time. So the dishwasher breaks and we have to send out a repairman to fix it. And they do that one repair and they're done. Then we've got a second account for appliance recurring service charges. So again, we've named the account appliance recurring service charges. It's an operating expense. It's a sub account with the parent appliance repair and maintenance. And that account is for tracking routine maintenance. So if you've got a company that comes in once a year and checks your washer and dryer, for example, or comes in and does maintenance annually on the stove and cooktop, that would be a recurring maintenance, and you could put that under your recurring service charges. And that helps you budget, and it also helps you understand your financial statements when you can say, hey, we spent too much money on appliances. We budgeted $200 for appliances this year, but we spent 500. And you can look and see what happened and say, well, we budgeted 200 because that's our annual cost of maintenance, but we had a dishwasher that broke and we had a one-time cost of $300, and that's why we're over budget. We don't expect that to happen again next year. Or you may find that your recurring cost is higher than what you had budgeted or expected. And maybe that's because the service provider has increased their cost. So that way you can look at that account and you can say, well, we've got a budget for that next year because this cost is rising. And we know this is a recurring cost. So that's how the chart of accounts works. And that's how you set up a parent and sub account within the chart of accounts in Buildium. So now that we kind of know about setting up parent and child accounts in the chart of accounts, you can see in this chart of accounts how you can utilize that. So we've got one account for capital expenditures. So this is CapEx. So anything that is considered a capital expenditure or basically kind of a long-term improvement to the property falls under the general heading of CapEx. And then we're able to break out all of those CapEx charges into their different subcategories. And that way we can look at one CapEx number, but we can break that out into the various CapEx categories that we want to see. We also apply this to things like HVAC repairs and maintenance. Is it one time or is this a recurring annual or semi-annual maintenance that happens to the HVAC system? Landscaping. Are the charges that, they all fall under the general heading of landscaping, but are these non-recurring activities? Are we trimming palm trees and that's something that we only do, once every couple to, 2 or 3 years? Or is this a recurring charge? Is this the mowing of the lawn that happens twice a month or weekly or once a month, depending on what kind of service you have set up? Or is it sprinkler and irrigation repairs? So that generally falls under the purview of the landscaper. So now we've got all of our landscaping charges coming in here. Same thing with pest control, pool and spa maintenance. So there's a lot of ways that you can get creative. And the other thing this allows you to do is add more categories that are subcategories without really expanding your parent category GLs too much so that they get really confusing and hard for people to follow. So again, one really great thing about Buildium is the way that it allows you to set up the parent and child relationships between your GL codes, and it makes for really easy reporting and really easy coding of bills when it comes time to do that.